868-0342 and 868-0354. And now let's go live to the Scriptural Discussion of the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you once again with the greeting words of peace from the Lord of the worlds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I want to, as usual, as you know, I don't like you stopping me in the middle of a subject to ask me about something that had nothing to do with the subject. We are learning. We learn that teachers don't like that. I learned that in elementary school with a little help from a paddle. So, before I open up with any kind of subject or whatnot, you know, I always try to give people the opportunity that may have a question or an argument with me on something that they feel needs addressing. I always let them get that out the way. Because if you talking to people and they have a problem with you before you start talking, it hinders them from listening to you while you are talking. Sometimes. And so I don't just talk to hear myself talk. I have a duty to share things with you that you couldn't get from no place else. And so before I get into any kind of subject, any of you that have something you want to ask me, you may take this opportunity to do so. Just press *6 on your phone, and that will unmute your line. And I will entertain your question or argument or whatever you have with me. Even people who think that I should not be followed. You know, the worst deception that you can do is to deceive that one that you see every time you look in the mirror. Because if you deceive yourself, then that's just another word for delusion. You know, self-deception. When someone else fools you, it's called illusion. But when you do it to yourself, then you are deluding yourself. You are deluded. And so we try our best to always leave the door of disagreement, because to leave that door open I'm not so interested in hearing from people who agree with me. I would much rather listen to that and hear that brother or that sister that disagree with me. Because ain't now one of us got no monopoly on the truth. The truth don't belong to us. The truth is independent of any of us. 1 + 1 being 2 was that before I was born. And it'll be that after I'm gone. Do you understand? So, I try my best to, uh, give everybody a chance. It's an easy way to find out when people are do one thing while they thinking in their heart something else and just trying to deceive you. Especially, I remember the messenger, he was stand up teaching once, and it's in the theology of time, and some of you may be able to quote it perfectly, and that's fine. But he was stand up teaching, and he said that some of you, when you're at home, you have lots of questions for me. He said, well, you're here now. he was calling them out. So what is all that? I don't. I used to think when Jesus was saying to the woman when she asked him to heal her, I think her daughter was sick. But anyway, Jesus told her, he said, it's not agreeable. That's what meat means in that sense. It is not meat that I take the children's bread and cast it to the dogs. For I'm not sent but to the lost sheep of the house or in the house of Israel. And the woman, she looked at him and said, truth, Lord, but even the dogs eat of the crumbs that fall from the mouths. And Jesus marveled over the fact that she didn't get offended. I think that's what he was mostly marveling about. Water. Okay. Thank you. And so he said he had not encountered so great a faith among them like that. And so he said, be it as you wish. He healed the woman's daughter. But Jesus, like all of the messengers of God, was every time he went to try to help somebody, being the true representative of God, and he's going about Allah's business of sharing the truth with people. Here come the so-called religious people, the territorial dogs, the territorial creature. And when a stranger show up, the dogs start barking. It's kind of like people who get on the internet. That's like the dog behind the fence. You ever walk by? Some people, most people scared of dogs. I'm not. I'm not scared of no dog because I know the nature of the dog. And it ain't the one who barking that you got to worry about. Gotta watch that sneaky one who slip up behind you, won't bark. He just come slip up behind you and bite you. He ain't got nothing but his mouth, and you know, it's. But anyway, and they put fear of dogs in you from the time you little boy, little child, make you think dogs is tough. And dog ain't nothing. But anyway, I'm kind of about your German Shepherd or your Doberman Pinscher. If you want him to stay perpendicular to the planet, you better keep him away from me. So the dog, he go barking, but when you open that gate, 99 out of 100 of them always shut up. Because he's scared and he's trying to put fear in you by barking, hoping, and he'll sniff a little bit to see if he can smell the little odor that you give off when you're scared. You know, not that he knows anything. It's just that Allah put in him to know who to mess with. So that's so it is with these people who get behind the internet fence and they bark at me from behind them. What they call them posts, text messages. Then I surprise them and open the gate. So I told everybody, look, you ain't got to sit back there behind no fence barking at me. Come on from behind the fence and come on in here and talk to me and tell me what your problem with me is. But as I was sitting up thinking about that, I said, why? You know, I was thinking to myself, and Allah answered me as quick as I got the thought in my head and realized, so what these people that do all that woofing and going on at me, and then when I give them a chance to express what they have to say or get their leader and bring him in here, they don't see the logic in that. And Allah told me, he said, they see the logic in it. He said, turn to Revelation. The 6th chapter, son of man. So I turned over there to the book of Revelation. And he said, now go down there and read the 12th, start reading at the 12th verse. So I started reading. It says, and I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And it says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Well, if I had not had the Holy Quran, I would have never understood this. And also, Allah guided me to where I can get some understanding. So in the Holy Quran, the 15th chapter and the 28th verse, it says, when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to create a mortal. Now, it goes without saying that the mortal going to be a new mortal because the angels didn't ask no question. They was immortal. Huh? So mortals was already here. But he said, I'm going to create a mortal. And wise people know that create means you don't already have nothing like that around. Create, you start from something that don't exist. You got to bring it into existence. You understand? I'll show you an example. Could there be a such thing as a lab technician before you have a lab? Well, once you got the knowledge of laboratories and the greater or higher knowledge of physics and whatnot, then this about the need of lab technicians. So we created lab technicians. See, creation is takes place in the mind. You raise the mind to a certain level that gives you the personification or the person that will accomplish or will be able to accomplish what you are trying to, what human beings are in need of. You see, we produce human beings that give us what we long for. That man is something. That's why at the end of every prayer we say, Amen. You know, and generally you need more than one because one may start it off. Einstein may have started off the theory of relativity, but he didn't follow it all the way to the end. You needed some more men to take up where he went off. So we say, right? And if you really want the truth of it, that A represent Allah, Allah's men. You see, do you understand? Okay. Now, when he decrees a matter, he says to it, be. And once it becomes, then it is a being. It is being. Do you understand? Yeah, I'm coming to you in a way that you wasn't expecting. People say to me all the time, when did you do that? You remember when Michael Jordan used to be up there and he'd be making moves? And somebody asked him, well, when did you practice that? He said, I didn't. I just started up when I was doing that. Do you understand? And that's the way that's why I look so much forward to the meetings, because I know I'm finna learn something. Because Allah, he always, as I give you, he give me more. He said, the more you give, the more I'll give you. They even had a song that you can't beat Allah giving, no matter how you try. He says, just the more you give, the more he gives to you. Yeah, I bear witness to that. So, and when he said, I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay and going to be he said, of black mud. You see, they changed it when they found out it was talking about us. Once we got to understand that, they tried to call it into slime and that kind of stuff. Wicked devils. But you can't fool me now. I don't let them come and confuse, because I know that that's what he promised he was gonna do. He got I know he says a lot, Daisy. And I heard white people say this all the time. He said, I have half a mind to do so and so and such and so and so. Yeah, that's what he got, half a mind. He don't have the whole thing. I got the whole thing. See, and all you got was the half that he gave you. Half a mind is a natural mind. I don't care how much of the universe you study with what the white man gave you. All you have is the natural mind. And spiritual things are beyond your comprehension. That's why you don't have no peace on earth, because you don't understand, you don't comprehend spiritual or higher truths. You know, you talk it, but that's all you do. As the book says, this people draw nigh unto me and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. That's why every time you look up, you got squabbling going all over the planet. People just, they claim to be so religious. There's that much religion going on. How come you got all these wars going on? Why you always wanting to kill each other? Because your religion is vain. Because it came from you. It didn't come from the Creator. It's from you. The understanding that you have is yours. It's not Allah's understanding. As he said, my thoughts are not yours. Neither are your ways my ways. Your understanding ain't my understanding. So, since it said the black man gonna be created, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you the original man, the first man of the new world. The messenger didn't ask who was the original man. He said, who is? If you say who was, then you go looking back. If you say who is, you're talking about a new world coming. You got to have a first man of that new world. Now, you ain't heard no other man talk like I'm talking. That the scholars of this world can't find no fault in nothing that he said. I ain't forgot what I said. I'm taking the long way. That's the only way I'm allowed to take is I got to explain things. That's why it takes me hours to teach. And other people can't teach long 5 and 6 hours like you hear me do so regularly. It's because they don't have nothing to say. I got plenty to say. And so the messenger told you that the original man is the Asiatic black man. He didn't say was. But he did clear that up in How Came the Black God, Mr. Muhammad. He said, in the first place, one God was the God of the universe. And in the last place, one God is the God of the universe. Yes. Well, that's the truth. There was one best knower of the truth in the beginning that created these forms that we are in here. Yes. This farm been around here for trillions of years. Created and then made especially to house reason. Huh? That's why, he revealed in his book, the earth is his footstool. The heaven is his brain. The earth is his footstool. That the heaven is his throne. Well, if you know, in the beginning, God created the heaven. Well, that lets you know right there. We ain't talking about physical thing there. These was made. He made them complete, 7 heavens. Well, what is this created one? It's peace of mind and contentment. We've been working on that for a long time, and wasn't nobody able to come up with it. They say peace, but there is no peace. Yeah, but unto us a child is born. And his name shall be called the Prince of Peace. That's what it said. Look how I bring peace in it. Nobody else could have did it. Well, I shut everybody's mouth. They sleep and say something like we used to get behind the house. That's what my childhood memory of throwing rocks at cars when they passed by. Yeah, I was just like every other little boy in my neighborhood. We was getting into stuff. And we used to get a kick out of throwing a rock and hide behind that house there. And what's your problem? Well, you ain't got to do all that. Don't take all that. Sit up and pay attention. So the as so, good gracious. So as a little boy, we used to get behind it. Sometimes we stand behind my own house. Sometimes we'd be over in somebody else's yard behind their house. And when some of the cars would just keep going, and we just, but what we was waiting on was that one to stop so we could take off running, And so I remember we didn't want them to catch us. We just wanted to be able to throw it, and as long as he didn't know where we was far enough away, he didn't know where we was. We could look and see how he act, and just like a child's mind, just getting a kick out of aggravating people. That's not, when I read the scripture, I don't read the scripture like other people. I read them. Able to read. Read means as in I read you. When are you reading me? They mean, are you understanding me? That's the way they talk on radios. Especially in the military. So anyway, as I was reading the in the Holy Bible, it says foolishness is up in the bosom of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it far from him. So eventually, my mother or my daddy would catch me doing something like that, or somebody would go and tell them. The person stop. I didn't get away with that too long. And then he beat my rump, and I stopped throwing that car. Do you understand? So uh, the rod of correction drove that foolishness out of me. Do you understand? But a child don't have to be taught. He come here with it in him, because an empty mind is nothing but a fool. What you mean? Why we say fool? Because when you don't know the truth, people can tell you anything. Huh? We say he make a fool out of you. Well, actually, you already a fool when you come here. Anybody can fool you. Huh? Look at all them fairy tales that we used to get a kick out of. Telling them, tell it again. Let me hear it again. Lie to me some more. Yeah. Cow jumped over the moon. Come to find out, cows not only can't jump over no moon, cows don't even jump. What is that? So, so anyway, they just told us anything. So let's get back to this. It says the sun became black. Well, what mean the sun became black? If you say that's talking about an eclipse, the sun don't become black in no eclipse. The sun's still shining. And it's still what it always was. But if the sun became black, we know that it ain't talking about the sun up in the sky. White people have been the sun for the past 6,000 years. They have been the light. They have been the ones that the rest of the world wind up having to bow to and acknowledge the wisdom of. And they put all of their thoughts and their words in the minds of put him out here. They put all of their words in the minds of all of the human beings on the earth. They were given that freedom to have dominion over every creeping thing. Most people, when they heard the term manifest destiny, the only ones who really understood it was the rulers of white people, those who actually was in that little circle of rulers. They understood that manifest destiny meant a written destiny, that they had a destiny to rule over all of the earth, go out and deceive everyone. Brother, I told you to put him out. So, this is what the Q&A session started. This is the way that we bring you out of darkness into light. It does no good to talk about a person that is alive behind their back when they leave a door open for you to talk to them in person. And I guess he thinks that by saying something negative about Master Farad Muhammad, that somehow is supposed to upset me or get me into some, where's he going? get me into some kind of tailspin or whatever. But when you speak evil of people who did good for you, anyone who hears you know you're the fool, you know, and that's his punishment for not accepting the truth when it came to him, and he played with it. Now it's playing with him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that either accept what I'm teaching or leave it alone. It becomes a fire when you play with it. You see, and its burn is not like other burns. You see, meaning it burn your brain up, burn your mind up. Hey, you walking around here crazy. Yeah. And you heard him. Did he sound sane to you? Well, that's what he gets for playing with the truth. Now you can let him back in there and he can't do nothing unless we let him do something. So let him in there to listen. He who listens now finds what waiting on him? A flame. I don't care about him stealing in here. Let him come. So both books talk about the sun becoming black. The Holy Quran does not just say sun, it says mortal. And the Holy Bible had already prophesied of the Son of Righteousness arising with healing in what? His wings. Letting you know that it ain't talking about that sun out in the sky. And so he goes on to say, black as sackcloth of hair. Well, that's dark brown. Do you understand? Then it says, and the moon became as blood. Now, the reason that you notice in the scripture, it says that when Joseph had his dream of the sun and the moon and 11 stars bowing to him, Jacob said to him, he said, shall I and mother bow to you? So the father and the mother are compared to the sun and the moon. And so since the prophets were the ones that were, not only is the moon, I don't want to get ahead of myself. So let me get back to the moon for a minute. The moon is a piece of the earth that was ripped away by a great explosion over 66 trillion years ago. The scientists, it's one way that they could prove that we don't know what we're talking about. They have that Hubble telescope. That Hubble telescope can see into other galaxies according to them. And if they have created a lens that can show them what's going on in other galaxies, you mean they can't put a lens on a camera to show you that the moon is really a sphere and not a piece of the earth that was ripped away? Why don't they just, since they want me to shut up, since they want me to shut up about it, why don't they just show us that the moon is a spherical big round sphere, just like the earth is round and big? I said it's a disk with a convex surface on it. Now, how come they don't come on and just clear that up right quick? How come they don't want to go back up there? Anyway, he ain't told you what he found on there. It is on that. Has to be buildings on that. if it was once here and got pushed away out there and all this water fell back to this part, that explains Noah's flood. But now you tell me what happened to the civilization that was there. Them buildings didn't fall back down here. At least not all of it. I mean, we still see northern lights and stuff up there. Stuff that was got blasted away and burning up. You see it burning up in the atmosphere. It hit the atmosphere. Some of it's still falling back. But, you know, he don't want to come in here and talk to me because I have questions for him. I'm not like you. If I say I got some questions for you, all I'm looking for is an opportunity to speak to you. And so anyway, in this book of Revelation here, it says the sun became black. I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay of black mud. Well, then that mortal was yet to come. Well, the sun became black. and the moon. Now, just as the moon was a piece of the earth that was ripped away or torn away from the earth, all of the prophets and messengers were torn away by great force. They were pulled away from the society that they had lived in, and they lost all of their old way of thinking of this world, like the moon lost all its water, and began to reflect the light of the sun. As they said, the Spirit of the Lord, as the moon, if it could talk, it said, sun is upon me. For he hath anointed me. Okay, the prophets, they were ripped away from the societies. He was raised up from the people that they would warn. And then they came back with something strange to this world. As Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. They were alien to this world. Do you understand? That's why this world don't understand the scripture. And you know they don't understand it by all these different religions that's done cropped up from reading the same book. And none of them could condemn the others. That's why they coined the phrase, well, you go to your church and I go to mine. Huh? But all of them, a bunch of thieves. And now let's get to this next. It says, and the stars of heaven, that's the 13th. When it said the moon became as blood, you remember when Paul said, for me to be absent from the body, I'll be present with who? With the Lord. And so the lifeblood of my mind is the words that the messengers of God left behind. And just as physical blood courses through our physical veins, the spiritual blood of the messengers of God is coursing through my brain like blood through vessels in our bodies. And consequently, they became life. As the book says, in him was life. And the life, and remember, the blood of a creature is the life of the creature. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light of those men that you call prophets and messengers. That's what's in me. Then Jesus said, except you eat the flesh and drink the blood of the Son of Man, you don't have no life in you. That's what he told you. So he was talking about you have to accept me, a black man, and you got to drink from the fountain of knowledge that's flowing from my mouth now. My cup is running over. And except you accept me and the knowledge that I'm sharing with you, you don't have no life in you. Life is understanding. Okay. Now let's go on. You notice nobody's arguing with me. Is it because I won't let them? But it's because they ain't letting themselves. Look to me like they're doing just what this book say. I'm going to get to it in a minute. It says, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth. What did Allah say? When I have made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, fall down, making obeisance to him. Well, that's the stars of heaven. Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon. Didn't say the stars of Hollywood. It said the stars of heaven. Huh? Was not Moses a star? Jesus? David? Solomon? Muhammad? They were told to fall down. Even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is what? Shaken by a mighty wind. Huh? Yeah. Allah told me, he said, son of man, call on the wind. Tell them to come and breathe upon these who were slain for the testimony that they have. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Every time I'm talking, I'm breathing. You can't talk if you can't breathe. But try to say something and don't breathe out some air. You can't. In order to speak, you have to breathe out. You have to force air over your larynx. I guess that's what they call it. And your vocal cord, I should say. And it will vibrate. And the moisture that's in the air, it will make that sound that we call talking. But if you ain't got if you don't breathe out, you can't make no sound. It's just like our bodies is just like a trumpet or trombone, a French horn, a tuba. You got to put some air through there to make that thing say something. Is that right? Yes, sir. I know that's right. Yes. Yeah, I know what they call. So all of those instruments that you have to blow through, whether they're woodwinds or brass, you still got to put some air through them. So that's what you got to do, make this body say something. Got to force air up to it. So when I have breathed into him, you notice when a baby is born, you can't breathe for the baby. The baby has to breathe for death. Is that right? And so likewise, Allah, he formed the air and formed my spiritual lungs to be able to take it in and live off of it. He formed the scriptures here. That's life. Water is life. The air that you breathe is recycled water. And the water that you drink is just air that's been recycled and purified, and you're using it again. This is a perfect plan. We call it a planet, a plan for eternity. So we'll go further. It says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. Why does it say? Well, when a scroll is rolled together and departs, then you opening it up. I'm opening up the heaven for you now. Heaven is open now. Been closed. You couldn't get in if you wanted to, because you wasn't able to get the instructions in righteousness. You couldn't understand them. So I'm here. As the book says, the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout and with the words of the archangel. All of them said the angel Gabriel revealed that to him. The spirit of Gabriel was on him. Do you understand? And so now Gabriel himself standing here. That's right. I know you don't like to hear that, but it's me. And I don't need you to tell me it's me. The one who created me told me it's me. You didn't tell me my name was Marvin. My mama told me my name. And I don't care if you didn't like it. Allah told me I'm the Son of Man. And I don't care if you don't like it. I'm going to show you what we got for all y'all that don't like it. And it says, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places after the, what that song you said? Let every heart prepare him what? Well, when you prepare a room, you got to move out your place. Is that right? Every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Yeah, used to have a show come on, Make Room for Daddy. I know I make them mad now. You get mad all you want. I make everything you said and everything you do bear me witness. I'll show you something else. It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid them in the dens. It is written that my Father's house shall be called a house of prayer, and you have turned it into a den of thieves. So they hid themselves in the dens and in the what? And in the rocks of the mountains. You know, the devil takes you up into his mountain. He call them universities. And you become the chip off of the old mountain. A rock from the mountain. Huh? His mountain. Your head is, and the knowledge that's in your head you got from him. Like a stone you get from Rocky Mountains. They say Rocky Mountain stone. And that's why you hear people. I'm getting back to the little boy behind the house now. Now, you think these people don't know that the people that they following can't do nothing with me? But they want to have an excuse to not have to face me. So I'm following Archon. I'm following Silas. I'm following Raw. I'm following anybody. Get up on it. Let me get up on the so-and-so and hide. Got that number, didn't I? Yes, sir. And it's written right here. Allah's showing it to me. They hiding from you, son of man. It's not that they think that the people they following is equal to you. They hiding, call themselves hiding from you. The messenger even hinted to it when he said that the truth is to be so plain that you can't claim that there's a cloud between you and it. And he said, this is the little boy that's talking to you. Yeah, he was talking about himself. You won't be able to put me between you and the Son of Man. No, sir. I'm on his side. That's what he was telling you. You won't be able to put nobody in between us. No hiding place. What happens when you invite them to come in here and express themselves? They won't do it. Unless you come in here like that fool. And go crazy right in front of you. So I'm here with the truth. And, now next time anybody come up trash and you invite them to get their leader or the people that they look up to come in here and they won't do it, just put yourself in their position. When people come telling you, what's the first thing you do when somebody come to you and tell you that I ain't teaching nothing? And if somebody say, why don't you get him and tell him to come over here and to, what you do? You call me right then. So what that tell you that they up to? Believe nothing they saying about their leader. Because he really ain't their leader. They just walking with him. You hear what I said? Because if he was their leader, they'd call him and say, hey, I got a problem here. Right? Y'all the only one do that. Now, let's go to something else here. Let me show you what's in store for all these people. You remember the message that you remember the messenger said that Allah is ready now to put out of his earth most everyone that don't like him? Remember I told you Wednesday the ice still melting? All right, I'm gonna let you look at the weather. This is just the beginning of what's to come. Oh, excuse me. Never seen that. First time you ever seen it, ain't gonna be the last. It's some more coming. You're gonna get a chance to see plenty more. Because you hard-headed, stiff-necked, rebellious. We got something for you. Yes, sir. We got something for all hard heads. Allah said, son of man, I will make thy forehead as an adamant harder than flint against thy forehead. Well, let's see here. The lady said that's the first time she ever seen anything. Ain't never seen nothing like this. Yeah, let's.
The first time I've ever seen this. I mean, I was at a standstill. Matter of fact, I thought it was like a major accident or something like that. And then once I got creeped up,
certainly not what people were expecting or hoping for on their morning commute. The road ahead of them underwater. But the weather has done wild things in Texas this month, and today's flash flooding in Dallas was no exception. We welcome you back into Weather Center Live on this Friday. I'm Alex Wilson.
And I'm Dave Schwartz. You know, we've been stuck in a weather pattern that is about to change.
That is some good news.
That is some great news. Coming up, though, more amazing video and the reason it got so bad so quickly last night in Dallas. But first, we need to get to the active storms today. They're impacting a lot of people, a lot of places right now.
We want to turn to storm specialist Mike Bettis for the very latest on where and when.
Well, it looks like through the evening, we're going to have some storms, multiple locations where we've got issues, including eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and then southern Missouri as well. A couple of watches out there, including a newly issued thunderstorm watch within the last 45 minutes or so that's back across Texas and New Mexico. So that's an area that's had a ton of issues in recent times. So let's take a look at what's going on and show you that we've got some real issues for you here across the middle of the country. We've got that severe thunderstorm watch that, again, is right here in New Mexico as well as Texas. And then we've got our issues here across portions of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then Missouri. That tornado watch, by the way, goes until 7 o'clock this evening. What it really means is conditions currently are favorable for the formation of tornadoes. We've had a few embedded tornado warnings. None right now, that's good news, but a ton of heavy rain, a lot of flash flood warnings, and a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings across southern Missouri. Look at all this rain, just really focused. Fort Smith, Fayetteville, and near Muskogee, we do have our flash flood warning here. And then notice here around Joplin over towards Spring, we're going to get hammered with heavy rain throughout the evening. Severe thunderstorm warning for McDonald County. That's Erie, Goodman, Pineville, all locations that could be impacted by some hail and some high winds. 4:45 is the expiration on our warning. There's a close-up view. You can see it just coming across 4971 here from Anderson over toward Cassville. I'm probably going to see it come very near Monette here. So look at the hail tracker on this. We definitely have some hail in there. Hail size more than an inch in diameter. So we're meeting our criteria here for a severe thunderstorm warning, which is 1 inch diameter hail. So if that hail's about the size of a quarter or so, you're going to have some problems with some dents maybe on your car and maybe some damage to the roof of your home. Around Spring, fumes have come through now mainly on the east side of town, right along Highway 60 here, but this area will light up for the remainder of the night. Back to the west, this is where we've had heavier rain. Rogers, Tulsa, and Wagner counties under flash flood warnings until 6 o'clock. And then Tulsa, Okmulgee, these are areas that have also had some pretty heavy rain, and a saturated ground already does not help the situation. Creek, Osage, and Tulsa counties also under flash flood warnings. Those go until 5:30 this evening. Yes, it does include the city of Tulsa. Here's our newly updated thunderstorm forecast for this evening. Does include Amarillo over towards the Abilene, Wichita Falls, and very near Dallas-Fort Worth, some severe weather, but we think that Dallas and Fort Worth could just get storms, maybe not necessarily severe criteria, but heavy rain, if any, is not going to be a good scenario for us here in the Metroplex. Most of Arkansas, by the way, could see some storms that may meet severe criteria for the remainder of the night. And there's a look.
Let me say this. You're going to get enough of call yourself talking about what something going to do. Did you make your car and can't make it go no way but forward? You think we can't make them storms back up? We can make them back up. We can make them go in circles. Just like you can your car. We're going to teach you a lesson. That's what you used to say when my people and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Teach that nigga a lesson. I'm going to teach you one now. All of you that don't want to quit that. We done had enough of that from you. Your time to do that is up. I'm warning you. And the ice ain't stopped melting. Just keep looking.
At the rainfall forecast, which
does not paint a pretty picture. And notice there's a spot here right over the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, darker green, indicating 1 to 2 inches of rain could fall for us here. And there'll be some pockets here through Arkansas where another 2 to 3 inches falls through Sunday. Both of these areas are saturated. Both of these areas could see additional flooding on top of historic rainfall we've already seen in May. So early heads up for you in Dallas-Fort Worth. We're not saying it's going to flood, Dave and Alex, like it did last night, but there's a possibility more rain is coming in, which would not be a good scenario.
No, it would not.
But I like the idea of up to an inch rather than 5 to 8 inches.
And that
That'll be
is
an
good.
improvement.
Yeah, I think, and then, further down the line, just dry days, which they're really.
Dry weather coming. Almost unbelievable.
They will love it. Well, 20 ago, we were tracking storms and heavy rain in northwest Texas. It made it into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex overnight, and that flooding really quickly got out of
It
control.
made it in there, I tell you. It's breaking news that started before the crack of dawn, and we've been showing it to you live here all day, right on the Weather Channel. This was the police officer that was trapped in his car all morning long.
I'm not ever seeing that.
Still underway. Highway rescues in the Dallas area.
Testing his luck with the floodwaters and quickly realizing his luck has run out. There, like you said, we are climbing up towards the wettest month on record.
Wettest month on record. Here's where we are, another inch and a half, and we're there. That could happen tonight. Our own Dave Malkoff was right in the thick of things in Dallas last night, and he's along the highway now where things are starting to return to normal.
Yeah, traffic is back up and running underneath this overpass, but look at what it looked like just hours ago in the morning hours. You can see that there was so much water in here that rescue workers had to pull lots and lots of people out. In fact, the most rescues that happened in the last 5 years happened last night here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, including Sam Hahn, who was inside his BMW when the water just rushed him away.
I was just driving, and then suddenly the car stopped, and then I tried to turn the car back on, and when it turned on, and then when I opened the door, all the water came in. So I just walked to the nearest gas station, but my phone was already underwater, and I tried to call somebody. I called my insurance, I called my police, I called BMW service, and nobody could really help me out. So just here,
so much water throughout the entire state of Texas that if you took all the water that fell down in May, the wettest on record, it would cover the state in 8 inches of water. In Dallas, I'm Dave Malkoff. Back to you.
Thanks, Dave. Well, we're going to move from North Texas to Central Texas, where the cleanup continues after a wall of water slammed into houses.
And we've seen helicopters used for water rescues, but this one a little different. It was dry.
I'll show you that. It's pretty well defined there. The Fayetteville area has a pretty well-defined rotation, but it's a little bit on the... Here it is in the big picture between Fort Smith and the Fayetteville area. Has a pretty well-defined rotation, but it's a little bit on the surprising side.
What he's showing now is a tornado hiding in a rainstorm. So just want you to understand that this ain't finna just all pass over. It's about to get worse. You should tell your Congress people to hear what I have to say. Remember, I asked you to let me. Told you I had asked for an audience with Congress. Told you to call them and tell them what's it gonna hurt to talk to me. Pretty soon, I'm gonna stop asking.
In that it's kind of in a line of thunderstorms there that are marching near the lock area off toward the north. I'll take a look here at high definition radar. And a little bit surprising, just a big, maybe trying to be a bow echo, but the circulation is not back in this little notch here. It's back in the middle of the line. And I'll show you that. It's pretty well defined there. The red's going very strongly north by the green. Let's circle that and then take a look. The normalized rotation, it's in that area. It shows up in the lower range, but there's a couple of spots there. Let me show you that again. There's a couple of spots there in the blue on our tornado debris signature. So that suggests that there's some debris in there that's tumbling around. A dangerous storm, one that's likely to be rain wrapped and heading up in the area from near Lock up toward the Winslow area. So if you're in that northwest corner of Arkansas, seek shelter if you're in the path of these storms. Let's go back to the studio.
Boy, that's great work by the National Weather Service to issue a warning on that, trying to find that on radar. You know, we continue now with the incredible stories from the Texas floods.
All Reagan Veggie is in Wimberley, Texas, southwest of Austin, and that's where survivors have been talking about the night that they were swept away. More help is available here in Hayes County in Wimberley for people devastated by the flood. Behind me is the Wimberley Community Center. You can see everybody, the organizations and the agencies getting all their supplies together. This is a one-stop shop for people needing financial help, housing placement, pet assistance, emotional and mental support. We spoke with one resident here in Wimberley, Judy Thompson, and she explains what happened as the Blanco River was rising around her home. We were getting warnings, and we were all watching the Perez's where you see the video next door. They were out there, the Perez's went home, and Jim looked right up here between the houses. He said, my goodness, the water is between the houses, let's stay out, Judy. Oh no! That's when that video was taken. That fast. By the time we drove to the end, the Perez's were stuck. Up at the bottom of that railing, maybe a little bit more than that. But that's why the Perez's, this house is a replica. The Perez's couldn't get out the top story, and that's where they got them. If you're like Judy Thompson or know someone who is, please spread the word. Here at the Wimberley Community Center, a one-stop shop for all your needs, financial, mental health, emotional support. This will be happening here on Friday all day, on Saturday. Then on Sunday and Monday, San Marcos at the St. John's Church. Of course, we have a number on your screen, the Red Cross hotline. If you have, please call that number. Back to you. All right, thank you, Reagan. You know, a lot of people saying, when is the rain going to come to an end after some of these epic rainfall totals that we've seen, up to 2 feet in those areas with the light pink, the white, even more than that. So we have seen exceptional rainfall totals, wettest May on record for places like Oklahoma City, where you are approaching 20 inches of rain, over 16 in Wichita Falls and Austin, and Dallas, over 18 inches, over 1.5 feet in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Water vapor imagery showing some of that storminess working into parts of eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, southwest Missouri at this point. Noticing drier air, though, working into southern parts of Texas. So getting a break. The recent pattern, though, has been for that jet stream dip to be at a little further towards the west, or that moisture pulled northward into the southern plains, and that's led to that significant flooding rain as disturbances have worked through the area. However, next week we've got a building up a ridge, and that ridge will likely keep things much drier, and so the pattern will be for much less in the way of rain and much more in the way of sunshine as we head into next week for a lot of these cities, including Dallas, where we are expecting sunshine by Sunday, Monday, and notice all of next week stays dry in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We'll be right back. As I toss to you.
CSI Weather Channel tonight with the incomparable Dr. Forbes. All right, so subtle features, Dr. Forbes. I mean, this was a really difficult thing to forecast, that's for sure. Happened about 1 o'clock in the morning. We go back to 1
yesterday. A couple of things you notice on radar.
Yeah, and some of these things are better seen after the fact than they are as a predictive thing. But what we certainly saw, even some of these storms had severe thunderstorm warnings on them in the afternoon. So might have been a bit of a boundary here that then the storms were firing. Two lines of thunderstorms there that were firing intersected with it as it came into the Dallas area.
Okay, so this really started to blow up here, pushes its way eastbound, big squall line. The southern edge that really takes off. The northern edge of it slows down a bit, especially once it gets to the metroplex.
That really is. You see 1 and 2 bow echoes there. The southern one, as Mike said, became.
You'll notice they told you Allah slowed it down once it got over the metro. You still think that this, you'll say Mother Nature. Mother couldn't became a mother if it hadn't been a father somewhere. You're going to see things that's going to be so frightening that it's going to give people heart attacks. All because you wouldn't listen. That chip on your shoulder gonna soon be knocked off.
Dominant. And what might have happened also is that sometimes these bow echoes, these mesoscale convective complexes, will get low pressures at their northern end. So the northern end of the southern of the bows might have slowed down the southern end of the northern one and allowed it to rain longer over the Dallas area.
And one subtle thing you also see, just as that line is coming into the Dallas area, is this flow. Watch this flow that comes in out of the south here, right into Dallas.
Yeah, and that's the area where I said there might have been a boundary that it set up, and you get some of these thunderstorms.
Showed you how Allah slowed it down. Sent some others from down in the Gulf, sent some wind up there to slow it down and drop that rain for hours over that city. And you just don't realize what you're doing when you try to cut us off from being a nation. You done got together behind the closed doors, talking about you ain't gonna let Abraham's seed become a nation submissive to Allah. We gonna be a nation submissive to Allah. Now, whether you benefit from that or be destroyed by it, that's up to you. I'm not finna hide the fact that I'm a Muslim just because you got all these hypocrites out here misrepresenting what a Muslim is. No, I'm not hiding from you. I don't have to. Them forces that you looking at on the TV there, those are my forces. You the one gonna be hiding.
That roll north into that and collide and merge with the thunderstorm. And some of this strong wind coming in here might also have slowed down the rate of eastern movement of this northern bow echo.
This came through Fort Worth, and it came through Fort Worth in maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. Once it got to Arlington toward Dallas, it really slowed down.
Yeah, there's some of these storms that we're talking about that fired up. They had stopped in the afternoon. They refired up again at night. Might have been a bit of a jet also. That happens at night. That accelerates the winds with these storms, and that merging in there right over the Dallas area really seems to have augmented the precipitation process. Sometimes you get those kind of mergers. You get one storm has one kind of droplets, the other storm has a bigger size of droplets. You merge those two together, and it really maximizes the rain growth. We call it a microphysical process that might have augmented, maximized the rainfall efficiency.
All right, so Dallas ends up getting about a 3 or 4 hour event of rain. Here's a look at it in 3 dimensions. There's that southern merger coming in with the main line, Dr. Forbes, and look at it just sit right over Dallas.
Yeah, these were huge thunderstorms, 45, 50,000 feet tall in the middle of the night that were saturated to a deep layer and just raining at cloudburst type rates.
This is impressive to see because when we watched this on the radar last night, it almost looked like they might have been weak
weakening coming into Fort Worth. And next thing you know, as you mentioned, they just maximize the rainfall. Unfortunately, right over Dallas. If this would have happened 25 miles to the east, we wouldn't have seen the pictures like we've seen today.
No, because of all the urbanization leads to an exaggerated runoff. And of course, trying to predict this kind of a thing in advance, next to impossible. You almost have to do a nowcasting. You see that the first line of storms has come in, giving you 2 or 3 inches of rain, but it's not stopping. You're going to get additional. That's when it gets to be catastrophic type flooding.
All the clues are, the details are right there in the radar. But Dave and Alex, always fun to play Monday morning quarterback in these kind of events.
It sure is. Thanks a lot, guys. I loved hearing that. Nice analysis of what happened. Here is that storm, by the way. That's pulled out of northeast Texas, but still causing problems in Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, Missouri, and southeast Kansas. That's where a tornado warning is in effect. Here comes our next little storm, bringing thunderstorms to west Texas. Those fan out across the northeast and stalls. Breaking news in southeast Texas, the voluntary evacuation in the town of Wharton, which is southwest of Houston, has been upgraded to mandatory starting just 30 minutes from now at 5:30 local time. Now, the Colorado River, and that's the one in Texas, is still rising there, and some 300 homes could flood, affecting about 900 people.
We're also staying on top of developing weather models and heavy rain in a lot of states right now. So storm specialist Mike Bettis is here to join us from the lab.
All right, thank you very much, Alex. Thanks, Dave. We've got a lot of issues this evening. Right in the heartland, it's unfortunately a broken record. We've got severe thunderstorm watches. We have tornado watches as well. So the atmosphere is very ripe this afternoon and probably for the remainder of the day in this area. We have severe thunderstorm watch across Texas and New Mexico. This watch goes until 10 o'clock Mountain Time right here, highlighted in yellow. And then we have a tornado watch through portions of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then southwest Missouri. This goes until 7 o'clock tonight. We've had a couple of tornado warnings, no longer any of those in existence, but a lot of heavy rain falling in places that have had a lot of rain in the past month or so. So plenty of flash flood warnings out there. And a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, by the way. We've got one right in the middle of your screen near Fayetteville, Madison, and Washington counties. Severe thunderstorm warning here. We've got tons of rain. If we get to any tornadoes that form in some of these squall lines here, we could be looking for rain-wrapped tornadoes, hard to detect on radar, nearly impossible to find by storm spotters. Durham and Elkins, if you live in those towns, heads up, could be watching for some hail, some strong winds coming your way. 5:30 is the expiration on that. I'm going to show you this, and I'll back it up manually here so you can see that we had some velocity signatures on here. I'll back it up just a look for red and green right next to each other. And watch this come up toward Bidville here. See a little pocket right in there? That possibly where the tornado was. Really hard to detect, but maybe just briefly on the radar. And now it looks like it is weakened as significant. It may be gusting out as it heads toward Durham here. So you may encounter some high winds here in the town of Durham. A bigger picture here you can see out from, say, the Joplin over towards Springfield. Heavy rain falling for you here. I-44 is going to be a problem for you, as well as I-49. McDonald and Newton counties, including Granby, Neosho, and Seneca, all under flash flood warning. Springfield, the heaviest of the storms, has now gone to our east. But more storms, by the way, have developed to your south, so you're not out of the woods just yet. Then the bigger line comes in from the west. Tulsa, Wagner, and Rogers County back into Oklahoma under flash flood warnings. Also Osage and Creek County, the town of Tulsa. Plenty of weather still to go this evening, including this large area from West Texas through the Red River Valley, heads up Wichita Falls, and Lawton, Oklahoma, and most of Arkansas is going to see plenty of storms as well, maybe as far south as Shreveport. Keep in mind, all these storms could contain a lot of heavy rain, Alex, and we know in this storm.
Now, as you could see, that's today's weather. This afternoon's weather. Turn to the 24th chapter of Matthew and the 19th verse. It says, I'm going to start reading there. It says, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter. You look up the definition of winter, And hidden in that definition, it says a time of decline and decay, etc. You know, if you one that's running away from me, I know why you running from me. Allah said, son of man, the house of Israel won't hearken on you because they won't hearken unto me. What was they doing? They sought to hide themselves in the rocks and in the dens. I should say in the dens and in the rocks of the mountain, and said, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne. They want to be hidden from the truth. They don't want the truth. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Because you reject knowledge, I will also reject you. That's written. So it says, and except days should be shortened. Wait a minute. No, let's read the whole thing. It says, but pray ye, be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. See, this is the last rise and fall of a civilization. This the end of it. Ain't gonna be no more rising and falling, because now comes the kingdom of heaven on earth. And that's what I'm inviting you into. You turn me down, well, the messenger and all of them, David said, Lord, do not I hate them that hate you? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he said, I worked for you for 40 years to get you into heaven. And you turned me down, and I wish it's then to push you over in the middle of hell. Huh? And I happen to have been teaching now for 40 years. Then it says, for then shall be great tribulation. You know what tribulation is? It's trouble. Every city gonna be River City in a minute. Those who old enough to remember that movie called The Music Man, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, gonna be trouble in River City. Then it says, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. What the lady say, I ain't never seen nothing like this. Huh? Well, you should have been looking for it. It's telling you right here. You know, in this book that you said is a lie. Sure had your number though, didn't it? It says, no, nor ever shall be again. This stuff that you see happening now ain't never gonna happen no more. But what you gonna do about all that water? Put it back where we brought it out from? And it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. Remember, I told you that not only the ice is melting, I told you elements are melting too. Being prepared for you. And it says, but for the elect's sake. Elect's there is a possessive form, meaning the one whom Allah elected. That's me. And for my sake, he said those days will be shortened. It says, now, let's get back to this terrible stuff that's happening.
the country is the last thing we need in our forecast.
You know it because we have seen some amazing flooding. Let's show you some of it. A hovercraft was called in to help a driver stuck in floodwater in Sachse, northeast of Dallas. This is just one of the more than 200 water rescues that took place in the area, according to Texas EMA. So, Dave, you're looking at this person trapped on the roof of the car, had to likely climb out through the window, get up on the roof, nowhere to go, just you're helpless, you're waiting for somebody to come get you, and luckily these hovercrafts were able to get there, get this person who was stranded out of the water, but, others, they couldn't get them with a hovercraft, they had to use air support, helicopters, and actually hoist these people. We've got another incredible video coming up in just a few minutes with a look at that, but this person very, very lucky.
Look at that. You know what's got me is the hovercraft. I mean, I've seen those big wind fan boats at the air.
Yeah, over here so you can just listen for a second. Listen to this sound. You hear that? That's the sound of Dallas drying out after a wild night of swiftwater rescues and people trapped in cars. This underpass, we couldn't even see the vehicles here when we first got here 9 hours. Now you can see there's at least 6 vehicles, including a fancy Mercedes sports car, completely covered in water. We could not see them. And the real dangerous situation was happening with this vehicle, this brand new BMW with Sam on inside. He couldn't get out of his vehicle because there was so much water around him. He couldn't push the doors open, so he actually had to, looks like the window's broken here. He actually had to get out through one of these windows by breaking them, and also the sunroof is broken now. You can see that the sunlight has come up. He was very scared and he got out. Didn't even have any pants on. He just had shorts. He didn't have any shoes because he lost it in all this water. He had to go over to the convenience store and call whoever he could. His cousin eventually picked him up. This was a terrible night for the city of Dallas, but luckily the Office of Emergency Management has told us that there were no casualties in this so far, and there was no major property damage. Except for these cars, they will all be heading to the junkyard. In Dallas, I'm Dave Malcolm from the Weather Channel. Back to you.
And we have a look at that. There was rushing water getting higher and higher around him. This was the scene in Sachse, Texas this morning. Sachse is north Dallas, and remember they had that night of very heavy rainfall.
Now, that police officer was sitting at a high point, or what he thought was a high point, and he was blocking traffic from going through the flooding waters when the water actually rose on him. Now, his SUV flooded out and was less than a mile away from a team performing another water rescue.
Yeah, a Texas Department of Public Safety helicopter dropped that line, and that line, he got hold of it, it lifted him high and away from the floodwater, but he actually had to dangle for several miles before they were able to find an open field where he could safely be lowered.
I would just close my eyes real tight. You know, this helicopter was actually the third attempt to rescue this guy. What you don't see is a failed attempt by a hovercraft that got stuck in the trees. Then a big fire truck tried, but it couldn't make it. So then you see the third attempt with the helicopter, and there he is on his way to high ground, which was a couple miles away, right?
Right. I mean, you're holding on for a while. North Texas wasn't the only place with that terrifying flash flooding. We have video from Lawton, Oklahoma, where water from a nearby creek poured into neighborhoods, went into homes and cars. Several streets were underwater. Parts of the city, you just couldn't get to them for a time.
No, that was one of the main drags here, Sheridan Road. If you were with us yesterday, you saw all this happening live right here on the Weather Channel. We saw cars and trucks stall out, water rescues, all right here on Sheridan Road. That's right near Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma, southwest of Oklahoma City.
And Oklahoma's News Channel 4 always does a great job in severe weather. They provided us with some of those amazing shots yesterday. Reporter Kristen Shanahan found it caught many people off guard.
Well, this is all surprising too, because it went from not being anything like this, and then all of a sudden it was dramatic.
Numerous vehicles got stuck here on Sheridan Road.
You see right here where the water's coming in over the hood? Yeah. Pretty sure that's where you decided to get out on me, so.
Shane Reed was one of those who didn't make it through.
And we started seeing other vehicles, but they were plowing through it, so that's why I was like, okay, if someone else my size vehicle can do this, so can I, but I guess I'm the exception, so I made it.
But the heavy rain didn't stop soldiers from Fort Sill from jumping in to help hook, line, and sinker.
So what we're supposed to do as soldiers, we're supposed to help other people. You know, we put ourselves before, we put them before us, so it's only the right thing to do.
Across town, flooding forced this family out of their home.
My kids.
More for the kids than anything, because I don't know just how bad it's going to get and how much in the house. We didn't know that this was a flood zone. Now my car is all drowned. While they stood in the rain, storms knocked out power in the city. A troublesome and emotional day for dozens of people caught in May's fury.
You see what happens when you don't enlighten your people? Like the poor lady says, we did not know this was a flood zone. It wasn't. But now that all of that water is being brought back into the water table, flood zones have changed. Things that did not used to be, places that did not used to be flood zones, now are about to get flooded. Soon you're going to have to move out of the places you're in more toward the center of the country. Watch what I take.
Kristen Shanahan, News Channel 4.
You know, how ironic is it that it's in Texas, it is Hurricane Awareness Week. Hurricane Awareness. And how do people die most often in hurricanes? Not on the coast.
Right.
Inland flooding. And it's happening. So I guess we're getting exposed to what we need to if a hurricane does hit us.
And to be prepared.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, coming up, the latest from Central Texas, where the cleanup continues after a wall of water slammed into
flooded houses, buildings, and that's devastating. We've been through bad things before. We've been through floods before. Never been through one like this.
Well, May has been one for the record books in Oklahoma and Texas, and it is still not over because flooding continues today across the Lone Star State.
This is many begin to clean up catastrophic flooding from earlier this week. And this has been going on for about a month and a half now. Let's go live to Jay Gray. He's in Kimberly, Texas, one of the hardest hit areas. Jay, what do you have for us?
Okay, Dave, Alex, you know, we talk about physical damage here, but what you guys bring up is very important as well. Just the psychological damage of all that keeps coming and coming. It's really starting to wear on a lot of people here dealing with all of this. We had more rain last night. That's making it even more difficult for the search and recovery teams as they work through.
Mother Nature's attack has been relentless. The scope and intensity overwhelming. It's been the wettest May ever in Texas, according to the National Weather Service in Fort Worth. 35 trillion gallons of water have been dumped on the state, and there's been at least 4 inches of rain somewhere in Texas for 23 straight days. Those are the numbers. This is the reality. Historic flooding in Dallas, Houston, the Hill Country. Water pouring into places it's never been before, swallowing communities, ripping apart homes and lives. It's become a somber ritual. Hundreds gathering each day at the First Baptist Church in Wimberley, now a command center, as rescue teams and more than 2,000 volunteers continue to search for those still missing. We're going to have up to 28 to 30 teams in the field throughout the day over a large margin of the river. Teams. You got an album there? You're working through mountains of debris, wet and rugged terrain.
There's so much ground to cover. It seems impossible, but everybody's taking it one step at a time.
Hopeful their next step will lead them to a survivor. At this point, we're still praying and hoping for the fact that we'll find somebody still breathing out there
This has not turned into a recovery mission yet, though most here seem to understand time is running out. Yeah, you know, there really is a sense of urgency, and part of the push is the forecast. I know you've been talking about it, but more rain is supposed to come through this area through the weekend, so they may not get a break until next week. Dave, Allen?
Well, at least we get a break, Jay, huh? Now the river behind you, that's the Blanco River. How did that do? Did that remain in its banks during last night's flooding rains?
It did, though. We saw it come up just a little bit. And you need to know, when you look at the Blanco River here, it's usually a trickle. It's nothing like this. It's still running very quickly. There's still a lot of water. Usually you can walk, drive across, do whatever you'd like to do. Take your dog for a walk, and maybe it'll get a sip of water at some point there. It's a very different situation here and across Texas right now.
Right, you know, and a sense of urgency, you said, with those rescuers. I'm sure they're tired at this point, but everybody you talk to is saying, you know, we got to keep going.
You know what? It's Alex, been a scenario where sometimes people have to step in and say, take a break. We need you at full speed, and we need you to get some rest, get 3 or 4 hours, and some guys just in their trucks trying to get some sleep or going, coming back. Yeah. What's helped is the tremendous amount of volunteers, more than 2,000 that are coming in waves here from all over. And when you think of that, this is such a small community. They've got to get in here. It's been amazing to see.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay. We appreciate your reports this week. We'll be right back.
Sometimes the best.
I'm just letting you see that we through being the butt of your jokes. You won't be laughing when you see the ones who gonna put a stop to it. I want to show you, I want to thank the people, our friends in Hollywood. Because you notice just about every time I talk about a movie or something, they put it back on. You heard me talking about the Day the Earth Stood Still. They ran that quite a few times. It was on today. Let me let you see. You know, it's called science. Now, I'm going to let you see some of it. Now, I want you to remember something. In the Holy Quran, it says, when thy Lord said to the angels, I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay of black mud fashioned into shape. Now, they ain't got no black man playing that part, but the one with all the power was black. They took truth and put it in a fictional way. Now, watch what happens to this fella here when he comes in contact with a sphere that's already here. They ain't even said nothing about the spheres that they only saw one coming. But the rest of them was already. But they saw him coming in the clouds, coming in the radar and stuff. He's coming quick too. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. But the other spheres was already there. The spheres represent the books, the prophets, and the messages that they brought, gathering those who believed in God and was waiting, and separating them from those who did not believe in God. Now, only they had it looking like, remember, it says, as it was in whose day? The day of Noah. Right? Okay. Now, just look at this, and I'll stop it and point out a few things to you. Now, Ezekiel, it says, in the chapter 12, in the 12th chapter of Ezekiel, you saw him taking that pick, digging through the wall. He said in the 5th verse, dig thou through the wall in their sight, and carry out thereby. Now, remember, it says, I'm going to create a mortal of sounding clay, of black mud fitted into shape. And when he dug through there, what did you see happen? Bright light came out in his face, didn't it? Now, watch what happens. Watch what happens next. And remember now, the Holy Scriptures was protected and guarded, and couldn't nobody open it up, neither look down. And I don't care how much you went in there digging, you couldn't get through. But when I was told to take and eat it up, the light that was shining in the dark found a host that was born for it and began to set on the brain of the man that's standing here talking to you. Just watch what happens here. Notice, that's his right hand, isn't it? Remember I told you the Holy Scriptures is the Son of Man, which was delivered into the hands of sinful men? Huh? Okay. Well, he said, Son of Man, sit on what? My right hand, until I make your enemies your footstool. Now, what did he tell them in the beginning? Now, who is the enemy to man? The devil. is the enemy to man. And he told them after he gave them dominion, go and replenish the earth. You fill it up all over. And Allah delivered the truth into their hands. And it's been all over the earth now until the earth is covered with wicked people. Now it's time for me to take the book from him who's been sitting on the throne. And I done took it from him. You don't hear none of them coming in here trying to argue with me about what's in the book. They lied to you about its meaning. But as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told them, we didn't just make them, we made books. We made the Bible, and we made the Holy Quran. I'm standing up here explaining them to you. That's proof that we made them. But it wasn't the kind of we that you, we weren't talking about black skin. We talking about the minds that's in us. And if I was not of them, I would be just as ignorant to what they was talking about as you are. But I speak their language and I speak yours. Both. So just watch what happens now. That ain't now. Remember, it says I'm gonna create a mortal. Well, you got a sample right there, a DNA sample from him right there. Watch his hand when he takes the glove off. See that indentation there? The sphere gone, huh? I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that they can dot out of your eyes so that you think it never was anything there. But got what you came for. Now, the creation of the man is about to take place. They'll see him coming back. Remember the woman gave birth to the man child and he was caught up to God in his throne? And then he said, I beheld New Jerusalem coming down. Huh? The Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. A shout is a loud noise too, isn't it? Okay, just wait a minute. Let's see.
Biobacillus, which
Now pay attention, close attention to that sphere, and you're going to see 3 distinct lights come down and come together before you see him come out of there. Before you see the character walk out of the sphere. Now, watch what happens when he walk out of there. What he gonna walk into? And go to the 60. I'll tell you in a minute. The 66th, the 60th chapter of the book of Isaiah. Watch what happens when he reach out to him. I spread out my hands all the day to a rebellious people that walketh in a way that is not good, after their own thoughts. They could care less about what the word of God say. Look at all them guns they got waiting to murder somebody. That's real life. That's the way this world is. You disagree with people in this world, especially rulers, they want to murder you. They don't want to reason with you. They want to murder you. I'm just trying to show you why you got to go. If you don't change, you're going to get off this planet. What I mean is off the face of it. Put you in the earth and let the worms eat. Just like he got shot, I got shot. Wasn't doing nothing but selling fish in the black community and going about our business. And here you come with your guns. But just like that backup he got there on the movie, fix it where the bullet was easy accessible. That's what he did when he put his hand down. You see, when the surgeon went and cut inside and everything, the bullet was right there. With me, the bullet just went all the way through. But this is the, you know, that's why I was thanking the people in Hollywood. You know, some of them in there, I remember when they were so mad trying to call Clint Eastwood crazy and all that kind of stuff. Because, you know, people that have small minds always think that a wise person is crazy. You know, when a person is, you know, a child cannot understand a grown person's mind. Because what attracts a child, a grown person could care less about. So the child said, he crazy. You know, it's just like when he told them at a Republican convention, you know, I could vote for somebody like that, like Clint Eastwood, that had the kind of mind he has. I mean, most people didn't understand what he meant when he said that. Yeah, it's a lot of us in Hollywood. It's a lot of us out here. He said, but we just don't go around hot dogging it. See, and in order to know what that means, you got to know what hot dog means. What a hot dog is. Most people, when you say hot dog, they think about a sandwich that you eat at a ball game. But the term hot dog got its name from a dog, a male dog, when he's in heat. What you see when you look up underneath him. And he will go and jump on the back of another male dog. He don't care. He just want to satisfy himself. And so what Mr. Eastwood was saying was, yeah, we are Republicans and we slow to change. We don't just jump every time we hear somebody claim that they've been mistreated or not treated right. So, but we don't go around trying to see who we can stick it to. We ain't just trying to hurt people just because we can. They didn't understand that. They wanted him to say, make my day. Even after Michael Moore told on them about the invisible president, that they wanted to treat America, since President Obama been in there, like it ain't no president. The Congress now got both the executive and the judicial branch. I mean, the legislative branch. Even tried to get the vice president. That's why they don't mention Joe Biden, was because he wouldn't go along with what they was wanting to do. Come sliding up next to him, talking about, Joe, that's just temporary. We gonna do this stuff, but we don't need to do it while he in. And Joe Biden didn't go for it. He simply told him, you're wrong, man. Your racism is that deep that you would let the country suffer for and go down the tube so you can do what? Stop a black man from showing that he got some sense? But sorry, America can't wait. That's what he basically said to him. These people ain't got time to wait on you to get racism Jones off. Your jollies. But anyway, yeah, they done shot the man. They picked on the wrong one. Huh? Watch what happens after they done did that to him. Look what happens.
Ceasefire! Go to fire! Shoot! We need a medic!
Remember what's written? No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. there it is in a fictional thing, but it's right there. Shutting their weapons down, ain't it? All right. Now he's shouting at them, huh? The Lord shall descend with a shout and with the voice of the archangel. Can't do nothing against them, huh? All right. You know, all of the messengers of God told you who you should fear. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you who you should fear. You see? There's that mechanical instrument there. Huh? And he's there to protect the one that they shot. Not just that, he's also there to carry out whatever judgment he decides. As the forces of nature have been ordered to fight on my side. By now, you ought to see that. You done seen the wind get boisterous and everything out there. And as fast as it got boisterous, you saw it calm down. You know, it's just. Now, after a display like that, watch what happens when, it's just, a fool ain't got sense enough to be scared of what he should be scared of. Fools always rush in where angels got sense enough to be scared. So just watch this now.
Pale flesh, texture. The way of the flesh is exotic and strange, but as I go deeper, it's muscle, vein, extracting the bullet. Gray flesh seems to be just falling away. It's moving itself. I think I need to keep extracting it. Yes. Can you explain any of this?
Global markets are panicked in early trading this morning in response to the crisis in Central Park. Trading has been halted on the New York Stock Exchange, the Nikkei, and the Hang Seng as Manhattan prepares for a massive evacuation. In other cities around the world, people are voluntarily evacuating population centers, fearing that the sphere in Central Park.
We lost contact with one of our DSCS-3 listening satellites orbiting Earth.
What is that image?
You're saying that the sphere in Central Park isn't the only one?
In fact, we have intelligence that small spheres have landed at other locations around the world.
Do we have briefings on that? In general, where exactly are these spheres right now?
I think we're asking the wrong questions.
What questions should we be asking?
Well, let's start with this. I am the eyes and the ears of the presidency.
Now, this is not depiction of how things would go if it was really some kind of alien visit to America, and it happened to land in the U.S. Wouldn't have no Secretary of State standing up there holding no meeting, talking about the eyes and ears of the president. No, that character that she is playing is typical of most of the people in this country that's been the highly educated and as well as the low educated, all got one thing in common. They always want to be in charge when they don't know how. I tell you what, go to any graduation in this day and time, and I guarantee you, you'll hear the same old tired speech. Y'all are the future leaders. Everybody want to be in charge. And really don't know how to be in charge. Everybody, I remember the messenger said this. He said that crazy Pharaoh, he said he did not and was not willing to admit that Allah was the greatest until Allah started filling his lungs with that water that he was supposed to live by. Then after he saw himself drowning, then he said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yeah. So he he had to drown before he acknowledged that Allah was the greatest. Then he said, there's lots of pharaohs out there. That's the typical. Wouldn't listen to God's man. You know, everybody, just like I told him, get me to you. Let me talk to you. Wouldn't set that up, right? Talk to me. Yeah, okay. I asked to speak to the Congress. Who are you supposed to be? I mean, let's face it. How many so-called Negroes ask you to speak to Congress? Anybody that's listening right now that's black that have ever asked to speak to Congress, unmute your phone and tell me. If you know a black man that tried to speak to Congress, the mere fact that I'm asking to speak to him should tell him something. You want to ignore me? Okay, go right ahead. Allah said, Son of Man, warn them whether they hear you or not. That's what he said. That's exactly what I'm doing too. Now, you heard her sitting up there talking about she's the eyes and ears of the president. As if the president would be sitting off somewhere in a bunker while the world is in danger. He gonna tell the Secretary of State, you handle this, and when it get clear out, you let me come out. You know that ain't what that's about. That's about your hard-headedness when I asked you to set up a meeting between me and the person that you say is teaching you. Why you don't do that? It's because you know that person that's teaching you is a liar. And you like what they saying. And because you don't really want the word of God, and you don't really want righteousness, you don't really want to be a person who submits to God, you give me some old lame answer as though you think you hiding from me. You ain't hiding your thoughts from me. I know what's on your mind. And in spite of that, I'm still trying to help you with your silly self. Oh, just watch it.
So, what do we know?
Madam Secretary, we lost contact with one of our DSCS-3 listening satellites over Earth.
What is that image?
You're saying that the sphere in Central Park isn't the only one?
In fact, we have intelligence that small spheres have landed at other locations around the world. They've been sighting.
In general, where exactly are these spheres right now?
I think we're asking the wrong questions.
What questions should we be asking?
Well, let's start with this. Where is our satellite?
We lost contact with it.
In the scheme of things, the loss of one satellite isn't necessarily our concern.
DSCS-3 stands for Defense Systems Communication Satellite. Remember what it communicates with? They were able to access our defense mainframe via that satellite. That's how they temporarily shut down our missile defenses and entered our airspace.
We have changed all the codes.
And on top of that, there is a vast amount of vital intelligence on that mainframe. They know everything about us now.
We know nothing about them.
Almost nothing. The fact that they chose to disable our defenses tells us something about their intentions.
Now you see, that's what happens when you're in a position or put yourself in a position of authority that you don't belong in. A person with half a mind would know that any beings that powerful to be able to shut your defenses down and all of that, if they wanted to harm you, it would have been a done deal by now. You see, Jim, we should know that because we should know their intentions about they don't shut down our defenses, as if that means something bad. It's just like you. I done showed you that your preachers and your imams and all your rabbis and all these people that you claim is so wise, I done showed you to come to them and me, they don't know nothing. They talk to you like they know a whole lot because they know you don't know nothing. But you so dense that you ain't got sense enough to see that I'm really the real thing. I'm not, this ain't no joke. If I'm not the real thing, how come don't none of them want to talk to me? K.C. Price and them didn't have no business jumping on Message to the Black Man. Donahue and them didn't have no problem jumping on Farrakhan. They went down in Florida and found Terry Jones and put him out there. How come don't want to talk to me? They're doing just what the book say, hide us. You know, I mean, even some of y'all, you say all kind of stuff. And then when I ask you about it, I didn't say that. That's what you said. I mean, I know you don't want a confrontation with me. You just think you do. I have the power of Almighty God Allah backing me up, in front of me, behind me, and on my sides. And all you got is a lie. Worshippers of a lie. Are you aware that I'm the only man get away with telling everybody that their religion is a lie? And I'm the only one got the true religion? And they don't say nothing. You know why? Because I don't say that to insult people. I'm actually trying to save them. Here this baby come up here and call himself insulting a man that he never met. He don't know nothing about Master Rahman. And yet he come in and talking trash. He deserved what happened to him. Yes. I ain't got to put a hand on you. You wish that I had been the one to do it. When you see what Allah have in store for you. Yeah. So, I mean, she's an arrogant little something, just like all these people that I talk to so often. Just arrogant. I'm going to tell all of you this. When you introduce me to somebody, don't let me detect that you're ashamed to introduce me as who I am. Am I clear? If you don't believe I'm the Son of Man, what you claiming you with me for? If you shame of me, I'm ashamed to have you with me. I don't care if the disbeliever don't like me being the Son of Man. It ain't a thing you can do about it. If you don't like it.
Madam Secretary, we brought in several specialists to analyze the tissue samples we harvested from the being. This is our chief geneticist, Dr. Hideo Ikigawa. This is our chief astrobiologist, Dr. Helen Benson.
Hello.
Doctor, the being is in a nascent state. The DNA samples we've taken seem to represent 3 distinct life forms.
How many life forms? How many scriptures is it? The Torah, the Gospel, and the Holy Quran. And those 3 are one right here in my brain. 3 distinct life forms. Didn't Jesus say the word that he spoke? They are spirit and they are life. Well, what do you have in the scriptures other than words that are formed into symbols. Life form. Hollywood got more on the ball than you think. So let's go on here and look at it a little bit more.
3 different DNA types?
Yes, including the being's brain. The body tissue is human, as far as we can tell. The gray flesh encasing it is organic material, some kind of bioengineered spacesuit. What it resembles, oddly enough, is placental tissue.
Which makes sense, given that placenta is a life support system.
And to a man child. Huh? All right. Well, that's all. That's what makes it so interesting. Is that see, they know that the word will hold your attention. So they take stories out of the scripture and put it in a fictional way. And you'd be surprised. I mean, if we look at Star Wars, when it first came out, people was flocking to it. It's just our nature to be attracted to good versus evil, because in the back of our mind, in our very genetic makeup, we know that the mind of good and the mind of evil has been constantly warring with one another, trying to bring about an equilibrium. And it finally done happened. You see? You know, there was a time when I would not have said, for fear of someone thinking I was a hypocrite or whatnot, I would not have said that I don't have no hatred for white people. Because I know they'd have been all over me. Some of me. That was Muslim. Somebody, your Uncle Tom, or you done turned hypocrite or whatever. When the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said the same thing. He said, I don't get angry with them, the way they rule. What? How in the world can they teach and take us away from the reality of God? He said, rule, they have to take us away. Because we've got the reality. Every time you look at a black man, you're looking at God. That's what he said. And he told me, he said, now, don't go blaming them for what, by nature of the knowledge that you gave them, you put it in them. He said, no, blame yourself for putting it in. Like that song, Sympathy for the Devil, he go off there saying, you're to blame, you're to blame. Yeah. He even asked Allah, he said, you made me errant, you know I'm going to go out here and make evil fast seeming to him. And Allah told him that's the right way with me. Meaning that's what I made you for. And that curse going to stay on you until the day of judgment. And that's why he been hoping that finally somebody would guess his name and take that curse off of him. They're pleased to meet you. I hope you guess my name. That's what he confessed to me. You know, come up here telling me he ain't the devil. He confessed it. You didn't hear New Bible say white people ain't no devils. When I started telling him about it, he left it alone. Coming in here cussing and swearing and going on. Their mouths are filled with cursing and bitterness. And the poison of asp is under their tongue. Yeah, there ain't none righteous. No, not one. As in Adam, all die. Yeah. For in Christ shall all be made alive. That's right. So I'm here with the truth. Now, this part here gonna really, because it falls right in to what I done been doing and the response I get from all of them. Just watch this.
And that basically, in order to survive in our environment, they had to be born here in its human form. They must have come here in the past and obtained a DNA sample from a human subject. Now, since that birth, the being has grown exponentially. This is 1 hour after surgery. 3 hours. 6 hours.
How much can you tell us about it by decoding its DNA?
You don't understand. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls. Geneticists are going to be studying this code for generations.
No, they aren't. This code is the property of the U.S. government. Its very existence is classified. I want to see it.
Bring him up.
Does it actually speak our language, or does it just parrot what it's heard?
No, it seems to already understand our language.
They've compromised our satellites. They know everything about us.
Mr. Driscoll.
You'll notice, I speak their language. He talk over your head. He can't talk over my head. But I can talk over his. Why you think it says that the Lord shall descend from heaven? When you have to descend, you have to come down to where somebody is. He that's from above is above all. Some of the people who were inspired to write this, they ain't get out of it what I'm getting out of it. So she says she want to see it. Well, that's the way all races think. You know, they little backwards mind want to treat a human being like he's not a human being. That makes it easier for them to do the evil to him that they want to do to him. You understand? You remember white people, y'all call us our niggers, our Negroes. But what is a Negro? You didn't want to say our black people, because if you call us people, then you know you're mistreating them. Because our Negroes. Well, the time for that is gone. We had, as a dead people, we had a name written that didn't nobody have but us. And now as a living man, I got a name that ain't nobody got but me. They even gave him in that movie a name that ain't nobody had but him, Klaatu. Never heard nobody with that name. Right? So they gave him a name which no man knew but he himself. They didn't understand the meaning of it. Just like you don't understand the meaning of the word of God. That's the name that I have that's written that nobody knows but me. The messenger told you I could make everything of the creation bear me witness. Then he says, and he makes you and me bear witness that this is the truth that he's speaking. Okay, now watch this. What's happening with that glass of water? He trembling, huh? Allah told me to eat and drink with fear and trembling. Unlike you, I fear what's written in this book. When I'm reading the scriptures, I'm always afraid. Afraid to do anything that Allah is going to be angry with. That's why they showed him with his hand trembling as he getting ready to drink water. I know you thought because he's weak. That's because you wrapped up in the movie. I ain't wrapped up in the movie. I'm wrapped up in the symbolism. Then you will find out that a man that fears God, God won't let him fear nobody else. Now you just watch this.
My name is Regina Jackson. I'm the Secretary of Defense of the United States of America.
This body will take some getting used to.
I've been sent here to determine who or what you represent and what your intentions are.
It feels unreal to me. Alien. It'll take time to adapt.
What were you before you were human?
Different.
Different how?
It would only frighten you.
You notice before the word became flesh, it frightened everybody every ruler that heard a prophet and a messenger speak was afraid of what was in this book. Made people want to kill. Like on that movie, The Matrix, they asked the question about the Merle Vincent. Well, what does he want? What do all men with power want? What? More power. And the more power they get, the more the corruption that's in them is made manifest by giving them all that power. Until pretty soon, they destroy themselves. And by giving them that power, you just gave them the means to destroy themselves quicker. Just like flipping the key to your 5-year-old and telling putting a gun in his hand and telling him, here, and here's some bullets. Go have some fun. You just gave him a means to murder himself. And whoever was silly enough to come around him. Huh? Why so many people leaving? Okay. Now watch this.
Do you have a name?
Glad to.
Do you represent a civilization?
I represent a group of civilizations.
Where is this group of civilizations?
All around you.
What is your purpose in coming here?
There is a gathering of world leaders not far from here. I will explain my purpose to them.
I'm afraid that's not possible. Perhaps you should...
You remember when I went to Detroit. Which one of y'all was there? I know Brother Maurice was there. Who else was there with me when I went over to visit one of Minister Farrakhan's temples? And Brother Sultan. Is that the messenger's son's name, Sultan? I think that was his name. Rasul. Rasul was the minister there. And I told him that I wanted to speak with Minister Farrakhan. And Rasul, I wanted him to set up a meeting for me with Minister Farrakhan. And he said, well, my dear brother, maybe I can answer your question. I said, no. I said, my disagreement is not with you, it's with him. And I need to talk directly to him. And he left it alone, but he never did set up a meeting for me. And what did he tell that woman? She asked him what was his purpose. He said, it's a gathering of leaders here. If he knew about that, why didn't she want to let him go on and talk to who he came to talk to? Like I said, this ain't based on no government and how it works. This is based on me and you. You don't want me to talk to your leader because you are afraid that your leader may wind up with me, which means you got to go find another rock to crawl up under. You know, that's what snakes like to hide. Like to hide up under the rocks of the mountain. What? You thought I didn't know? I know what your real problem is. You're afraid that your leader will believe me. Show you ain't about nothing. You're a liar. You want to call yourself a Muslim. As the messenger said, we cannot go out and tell the world that we are Muslim unless we practice the principles of such. We are trying not only to clothe you with the garments of salvation, we are trying to clothe you with the principles of our religion. When the last time you heard somebody come in here and tell me I'm not a Muslim? You know why they can't tell me that? Because I'd ask them to show me in Allah's word, what in his word am I violating? A Muslim is one who submits to the word of God. You say, no, it's the will of God. How does God express his will? Through his word. You can't claim to be Muslim because you don't understand his word. And the one who he told you that was coming and that you were to fall down and make obeisance to, you refuse to be with those who make obeisance. So, now watch this.
Explain yourself to me instead.
Do you speak for the entire human race?
I speak for the President of the United States. Now please, tell me, why have you come to our planet?
Your planet?
Yes, this is our planet.
And I'm going to just tell you flat out. White people, Chinese people, Japanese people, can't none of y'all claim this is your planet. Any more than you can claim that your parents' house is your house. This planet belongs to me. The earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. Who is the first people on the planet? Well, that's who it belongs to. You belong to us. And that's what the book says. The earth, that which is in it, and they which dwell therein. You belong to me. What a child look like. I don't care how old you get. I don't care how old your children get. They ain't never your equal. We are your parents. And you notice, it says, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God giveth you. Do that sound like it was yours? You threw disrespect. Why am I waking you up to all this? Because the more I wake you up to, the more you're going to be held responsible for what you let fly out your mouth. Yeah, that's right. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they don't have no cloak. Hey, she's sitting up there telling him, talk to her. Explain it to me. Yes, do you speak for all human beings? You speak for everybody? I speak for the President of the United States. Crazy folks. They want more authority than they are able to handle. When he asked to speak to the leaders, when a subordinate is speaking who is a stranger and who apparently wields great power, and that person requests an audience with their superior, it is not for the subordinate to say no. It's up to the subordinate to go to the superior one and say, he's asking to speak with you. What do you want me to tell him? I have yet for any of them to come back and tell me, Minister Farrakhan said he don't want to talk to you. I have yet to have one of them come back and tell me that Silas Muhammad does not want to speak with you. Any of these people that out here call themselves leading and teaching people. You'll notice ain't nobody who following T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen and some of these other people. They know I'm speaking about all of these people's things. Why they don't set up a meeting or at least get them to come in here and let's have a civilized dialogue about what they claim that the religion that they are teaching is offering us. I'm willing to be questioned about my religion. Why are they not willing to be questioned about theirs? And you know what is really going to bake your noodle, as they said on the Matrix, is when you ask yourself, why is the people that's following them not interested in them coming in here asking questions about their religion? We have made in every town the leaders of its guilt. Just listen to this conversation a little bit more.
No, it is not.
We've decided and move him to a more secure location. Yes, this is our planet.
No, it is not.
We've decided to sedate him and move him to a more secure location.
Are you going to interrogate him?
That's a possibility.
Madam Secretary, as scientists, we can't consent to this.
He says he wants to speak to the UN.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to scholars and scientists, the professors over at the university will look at you and laugh at you to tell them to go and worship something they don't know about. Because he didn't go to the university to learn that he had to worship fools. He went there to learn the truth of who is who. A scientist is a seeker of truth. A person who does not seek the truth is not a scientist. Scientists don't believe in witchcraft, in magic. Scientists know that anything that is in existence, there is a truth that brought it into existence. And it wasn't no magic wand. The scientist is truly the man who's searching for God, because he knows that the only true God that there is, and the only true power in this universe, is truth. That's the only true power in the universe, truth. And without truth, those who have power sources, those sources are of no value to them. Because in order to be able to use the power that electricity can give, you have to have truth of how to make it serve you. You hear what I'm saying? And you also have to have the truth of how to deal with it without killing yourself. The only true power in the universe is truth. As the messenger said, the black man's God is truth, making him truth for us all. You want to know who my God is? I worship the truth. You say, well, I do too. How you going to worship what you don't know? You haven't been worshiping truth. You've been worshiping you know not what. That's why you get mad when somebody go to question you about what you claim to worship. Who was that with their phone off? You trying to say something?
At the station, I was letting you know before we went off the air, asking you, did you want to mention them?
Yes, I do. I need 37 more people. Need 37 more people to make that 100 people list, so that we can give you a plan of action that will finally empower us to end our poverty and everything else. And we will not just give you a plan of action, we will execute it. And so those who love our people enough to want to help us get up, I need you to put your name on the list. Call my cell phone. The number is area code 601 786-1332. And that way your number will already be in my phone, and all I have to do is get your name. And I can put your name. And then when I get the people, then I will talk with you. I want you to know something else. I'm also planning on talking with Caucasian people, with Japanese or Asian people, and Chinese. But we're not finna try to keep the knowledge that I'm sharing with you to ourselves. See, they don't have the problem that we've had. We've had a problem of, we talk a good game, we talk a good religion, but when it comes to actually implementing that and practicing that, we have fallen short. Our leadership has been inadequate. And that's why Elijah had to first come, because he brought me something that was real. He showed me what unselfishness will do, and what a leader who really cares about us and help us to accomplish. So I'm going to work personally with you, but I don't have to work personally with white people. I don't have to work personally with Japanese people. I don't have to work personally with Chinese people. All I have to do is give them the plan. And they love each other enough to not rob one another and go on and get the job done. Do you understand? But it would be nice if we get it, set it in motion, and then it would be much easier for me to talk with them when they see that you are being healed by what I'm sharing with you. So I need 37 more people, sisters or brothers. And you need to be working now. You need to, I don't want, no deadbeats. Got to be people who understand that you don't get something for nothing. We must work our way to freedom, not beg our way to it. Because if you have to beg a man to let you be free, then what if he decides, well, I don't want you to be that no more? Then you wasn't free in the first place. If you had to beg him, then we got to beg him. And I'm giving him a chance to help himself before the forces of nature settle it. Help me and you helping yourself. I repeat, help me and you are helping yourself. So when you go and look at that movie, you watch what happened because of rebellious, forward people that didn't have sense enough to recognize when they was in the presence of someone who wielded far more power than they did. You see, and you've got no weapons that's going to help you against the Lord of the worlds. I repeat, you got no weapons that's going to help you against the Lord of the world. How do you fight someone that get inside your brain, get inside your mind, and turn your own mind against you? Now, let me show you an example. The white man got inside our brain and put a mind in us that was our enemy. And he learned to do that in less than 6,000 years. Now, what about a man who's been around here for trillions of years? You think we don't know nothing? How many times have you been thinking about something and you found me talking about that thing while you was thinking about it? You better quit acting a fool. All right. So I thought that was a good lesson in that the day the earth stood still. Okay. So you know, even in the book, it teaches you the same thing. They just didn't pay no attention. I'm gonna let you see a little bit more of it, then I'm gonna let you go. Well, it's one part in there. I'll just tell you about it, and you can go look at it for yourself in your leisure. But the woman asked him, "Well, why are you here?" He said, "To help the earth." And she first thought he was talking about helping everybody. But to show you, they grabbed that right out of the scripture. Turn to the 11th chapter of Revelation. And let's start reading at the 15th verse. It says, "And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great..." Now, before I do that, listen at this. This is the 10th chapter of Revelation. And let's go to the, I'm going to start reading at the first verse. "And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with the cloud." And you know the clouds is the scriptures, you know. "And we have sent down to you clothing." And he said, "Clothed with the cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open, and he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot on the earth." You remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "Ain't man coming after me but that one that put one foot on land and one foot on water." Huh? It said, "And he cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roared. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not." You notice, the word of God have been written. But to understand where to find the understanding of the word of God, that wasn't written. That had to wait until the one that this was talking about show up. Then it says, "And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth, he lifted up his hand to heaven." That's the way the Muslim pray, you see. Right? And it says, "And swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are." What is that? We created the heaven and the earth with what? All right, well, then he swear by the truth that, and the sea and the things which therein are, that there should be time no longer. Huh? Time for what? 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the Sabbath day shall be a holy day, the time for you to practice evil and mistreatment of one another, That time has expired. And I'm warning you to cut it out. And it says, but in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God, as Paul and them said, we speak the word of God in a mystery. Huh? We see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Huh? I'm showing you the understanding of it now, face to face. You ain't looking at the word just in a book now. You're looking at the word in a man, in flesh. And it says, as he hath declared to his servants the prophets. It says, in the days that the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished. Now let's go to the 11th chapter and the 15th verse. And the seventh angel sounded. Yeah, I'm speaking now. And there were great voices in heaven. Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, those are great. Saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ. The earth is now being turned back over to the original owner of it. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the earth belonged to you. He said it didn't belong to you, but now you the true owner. He said, Israel taking it away from you. He said, come on. I want to give it back to you. And he gave it back to him. And I'm willing to share it with you. But if you don't want to share my earth with me, I'll keep it all for myself. Which means I will just inherit it when you're not here no more. It says, the kingdoms of our Lord and of his Christ. And he shall reign for no 6,000 years, not for no 60 million years, but forever and ever. Yeah, that's repeating it for you. You say, forever? Yeah, and forever. that fixed it. Then it says, and the 24 elders which sat as rulers before God. The messenger told you how many we used to have ruling us. 12 major and 12 minor. 12 fathers and 12 sons. He put it like that. And they would keep that knowledge of rulership in that circle of 24. Here it is right here. And the 24 elders which sat in rulership before God on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped God. The one God. Huh? When I've made him complete and breathed into him of my spirit, what? They fell and worshiped God. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. Then it says, saying, we give thee thanks, O Lord God Almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power. Son of man, take the book and eat it up. What's in the book? Knowledge. Knowledge is what? I have taken to me the power that was meant to go in me. Thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned, and the nations was angry. God angry. It says, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged. Yes, marvel not, for soon all that are in the graves shall hear the voice of the Son of God. That's right. The S-U-N of God. And it says, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets. What was the prophet's promise? That they would inherit the earth. The meek shall what? And if Jesus said, I am meek and lowly of heart, well, what was Moses? And what was David and Solomon? They all were meek. That's why you don't find no meeker animal than a sheep. And David said it just, he said it just as clear and plain. He said, we are his people and the sheep of his pasture. He said, the Lord is my shepherd. That's right. Yep. And it says, and give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. What the man in the movie said? He come to help the earth by destroying those who was destroying the earth and give the earth another chance. Huh? You see how they snatched that right out the book? Okay. Keep thinking that it ain't real. Keep thinking that. You see some of them tornadoes waltzing up your driveway, you'll change that tune. When the earth start just leaving out from under you, you'll change that tune when you see what's waiting on you to be dropped in. You'll see. Keep thinking that you know everything about our planet. Any questions? Now understand something. There's a whole lot of things I stand up here and say to you that I didn't know before I stood up here. I done told you that I don't know how many times. As the one before me, he told you. He said, I don't say that I have all the answers. He said, but sometime while you asking me the question, I'll be giving me the answer. So, I'm not here to try to condemn you for the evils and stuff that you did, because I did a lot of the stuff you did. But are you ready to stop, or you just want to keep on? If you're ready to stop, then you better get yourself in these classes and get this knowledge that I'm sharing with you so that you can begin to be transformed. While you have time. Come on. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. All right? Stop walking around being the devil yourself and talking about the white man. You pattern yourself right after him. I had a person put something on our site talking about would I go to Minister Farrakhan's house for without an appointment or checking with somebody. That's the way white folks conduct business. That ain't the way we do it. There ain't no big eyes and little U's in Islam. You don't on the one hand call a man brother, and on the other hand tell him he got to make an appointment before he comes see you. especially if you at home and he's dropped by. If you there, why not see the man? But you don't mean it when you say ain't no big eyes. You just say that. You are a hypocrite. People come here all of the time. They'll ask, is the Son of Man around? And said, just a minute, let me give him a call. And they'll ask me, Son of Man, you know, so-and-so up here want to see you. I'll tell them, most of the time I will tell them, just tell them if you got to just wait a few minutes, I'll be up there. Or they may want to come out here. And I say, well, I'm here. It's no problem. You know, hear a man tell me that he's my representative. They the Congress. I remember John Boehner stood up there talking he the Speaker of the whole House of Representatives. Okay, if I want to come speak to the Congress, then John Boehner should have. It should be a simple thing as to say, tell the Son of Man, come on, tell him to come on up here. He went over there and told Netanyahu that he can come over here and he ain't even no citizen. Don't pay no taxes here. You don't play them games with me. What was Netanyahu before he got elected? What was John Boehner before he got elected? A citizen of the United States. So just because you got elected, that changed that you became a citizen? You supposedly are a representative of your fellow citizens. Then why is it so hard? When you messing over my people, you see black people being shot down and murdered all over America, and you got these scared to death people up there in Congress that you done got something on all of them. I know what it is. That's why they so quiet. When if it was me, I wouldn't care what he had on me. I said, you're going to show it because I'm still going to speak up. I don't care what you got on me. Because it ain't nothing compared to what history got on you. I'll put my reputation up against anybody's in this country. Got to beg them to let a member of a suffering people who's suffering at your hands. Well, I got to beg you to come up there and tell you that I have something that I feel is a solution to our problem with you. I don't even have to come up there. Why don't John Boehner could get on the phone here. He could let the whole country hear the conversation. And I would not disrespect them. You see, I even respect your flag. It's up here. No. You're just proving how wicked you are. You don't want a black man in America to really be a man. You want this, like when I was over in Vietnam and I did like this. And this white boy walked up and put his hand out. I said, power. And he said, under white control. And he started laughing. And I had to smile myself because I say that's exactly what it's been. Ain't no sense in me lying. That's what it's been. Our power to do anything in this country was always dependent on white folks helping us. So it was always controlled by them. What is the NAACP? We didn't set that up. White people set that up. And they fund it for the most part. I'm not interested in being free under the control of somebody else. That ain't freedom. That's tolerance. You ain't tolerating me, boy. You're going to soon find out that it's me been tolerating you. Help me and I will help you. I can ask Allah and he will stop all of these storms and stuff. But you arrogant. I know you ain't going to pay me no attention. It's written you want to do it. So, he said she could have been healed, but she is not healed. Babylon. Okay. Now, so you all that listening, if you've already put your name on the list, call some of those that think like you and tell them to give me a call. And when we get 100 people, then I will get with you. We will have our little meeting. And then I will tell you what we need to do to help get our people up. And if you are agreeable, we will start immediately. So, and I will be with you, and Allah will be with us. So, since there are no questions, I'm going to let you go. May Allah bless us, keep us safe and in our right minds, and grant to each of you a safe and peaceful journey back home as to where you abode or abide, and grant you peaceful night's rest and sleep, and a happy and peaceful morning's rise. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum.
Your conference recording has stopped. Goodbye.